Let me ask you something straight off the bat. What brought you here? Are you looking for a roadmap to get even with that narcissist in your life? Hoping to see them squirm for all the nonsense, maybe even cruelty they've put you through? Be honest with yourself for a second. Is it about making them hurt? Or, if you're really honest, is it maybe a desperate search to get just a little power back, even if it's only for a moment? I get it. Lord knows that's human. But I'll tell you right now, if getting even is your mission, then, friend, you're selling yourself short. Revenge, that's a child's game. You don't get free playing their game. You just dig a deeper hole for yourself. What you want, what you need, is much bigger than that. This isn't about evening the score. This is about stripping them of any real power over your life. You want to take back what's been taken, your peace of mind, your sense of self, your wholeness. And the one thing that hits a narcissist harder than any insult or jab you could ever conjure: becoming irrelevant to them. Being immune, just plain unaffected. Let's break that down.
Right.
This isn't about stooping to their level. It's not about learning to play dirty, manipulating right back. If you're coming here for a step-by-step instruction manual in psychological warfare, you're going to be disappointed. I'm not handing out armor and swords tonight. I'm offering a first aid kit and a compass. We're not talking retaliation. We're talking self-respect. Plain and simple. This is a survival guide. See, the mistake is thinking that the end game is to make the narcissist uncomfortable, to get a reaction out of them. That's just more of the cycle, more of the drama, more of the exhausting tug of war that's drained you for too long already. Hear me, making them uncomfortable is not the goal. It's the byproduct. It's the smoke from the fire, not the fire. The real win, when you reclaim your sanity, when you stop jumping every time they throw a stone, when you're living your life, not plotting your next counterattack. That's when you're winning. You've been on defense for so long, it probably feels like second nature. Every interaction is a minefield. You tiptoe around, you read the room, you soften your edges so you don't set them off. You apologize for things you didn't do just to keep the peace. Can I be blunt? You've played defense long enough, and I know it's exhausting, but it's time to shift from reactive to proactive. Only this isn't the offensive playbook you expect. This isn't about fighting back. The offense, real offense, is drawing boundaries so solid, so unbreakable, that whatever they throw at you just bounces off and lands harmlessly on the floor. If you want to make change, you have to understand what drives a narcissist in the first place. You could offer them kindness, generosity, even love, until you're bone dry from trying. Nothing fills them up. Why? Because what they crave isn't what normal people value. See, the narcissist is addicted, utterly, desperately addicted to a very specific drug, narcissistic supply. Now, that's not a term you'll find at CVS, but trust me, it's real. Narcissistic supply is your attention, your outrage, your praise. You're angered, even your tears or your silence, if it's in reaction to them. Every single thing you give them, good or bad, is just fuel for their ego. Picture it like this. Their ego is a big, gaping chasm, and every little reaction you give is a bucket of coal in the furnace. Doesn't matter if you're screaming or crying, celebrating or pleading. It's all supply, all proof that they matter, that they have power, that they live rent-free in your head. Nothing gives them a bigger rush than pushing your buttons and watching you dance. That's control to them. That's worth more than gold. Let's stop for a second. If you were face to face with me right now, I'd want you to dig into your own experience. Think of the wildest, most the top thing that narcissist has ever done just to get a reaction. Maybe a dramatic show at a family dinner, a bombshell text just before your big day, or a silent treatment so loud it sucked the air out of the room. That wasn't an accident. That was the playbook in action. They're searching for that fix, that supply. And I really want you to see the pattern, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Suddenly, it isn't about you at all. It's about their unrelenting appetite. Here's where the rubber meets the road. At this moment, you might feel an invisible bullseye right on your heart. You're the target, you're the source that supplies the high. They know what to say to get a rise. They know your triggers. They know where your secret hurts, and they poke at them, not by accident, but with surgical precision. Nothing you do will change who they are or make them treat you with consistent dignity. You can't out-love, out-reason, or out-sacrifice a narcissist into empathy. And that brings us to the shift. Who do you want to be right now? Do you want to keep being the target, always ducking, always anticipating, always explaining? Or do you want to try something radical? Imagine just for a moment that instead of being a target, you become a black hole. Not one flicker of light gets out, not a single reaction escapes. Their provocation, their rage, their sweet talking, their blame, every bullet they shoot just disappears, nothing comes back. It's just gone. To the narcissist, what's more terrifying than your anger or even your absence is your indifference. In that vacuum, their tricks don't work, their magic fails, they become powerless. And that, right there, is what they most fear, because it means you're starting to live for you, not for the endless game. You see, you don't win by finding the nastiest comeback or by outplaying a master manipulator at their own game. You win when you become immune, when your life moves along for your own reasons, not in reaction to them. Suddenly, their voice gets small, their shadow gets shorter, and you're left with space to breathe, space for joy, for quiet, for your own voice. So here's where we're headed. There are 6 things a narcissist despises more than anything in this world, and they're all rooted in you choosing yourself, finally, and without apology. This isn't about being a better narcissist. It's about becoming the last thing they can handle, free, whole, and untouchable. Let's get to work. I want you to picture something for me. Imagine you're dealing with a person whose ego is so hungry, so ravenous, that it literally can't function without your attention. It doesn't matter if your attention comes wrapped in love, anger, tears, or even outright disgust. It's all just blood to a psychic vampire. And let's be real, that's exactly what this is. A narcissist's ego. It's a vampire, and your focus, your energy, your reactions are what it feeds on. So let me ask you, what do you think happens when you cut off that blood supply? I'll tell you. Just like a starved vampire, that ego starts to wither and shrivel. It gets ugly and fast. There's nothing that drives a narcissist more up the wall than being ignored. Let's talk about your first line of defense: indifference. In the world of narcissist survival, it's called the gray rock method. And let me tell you, friend, it's just what it sounds like. You become boring. You become unresponsive. You are as exciting as a gravel driveway in Amarillo. Narcissists crave drama, conflict, spark. They feed on it. When you stop offering that, when you give them nothing but blank walls and one-word answers, you short-circuit their entire system. This works because narcissists are always looking for a play, a show, an audience. If you take the stage away, what are they left with? Just themselves. And they can't stand the silence. So how do you do this day to day when you're stuck dealing with them? Let's break it down. You get a text, "Why are you ignoring me? Are you sulking again?" Your reply is, "Okay, that's it." Not, "I'm not sulking." You always say that. Nope, just, "Okay." They call you, want to push your buttons, say something purposely irritating or just baiting. You say, "I see." You don't defend, don't argue, don't explain. Face to face. Maybe they come at you in person. "So what, are you going to be in one of your moods all night? What is it this time?" You calmly say, or, "All right." No escalation. No energy spent chasing your tail around their argument. You stay steady, unflappable, plain as sidewalk cement. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Dak or Phil, isn't that being cold? Isn't that rude? Here's what matters. This isn't about being cold. It's about being self-protective. When you try to reason, defend, or justify, you're just walking into the same old game. You're giving them exactly what they want: your energy, your attention, your life force. Gray rocking. That's you choosing not to participate in the circus. So picture this. Your phone buzzes and it's them coming at you with the old, "You never care about what I want." Maybe in the past, You'd find yourself firing off 1,000-word text, trying to defend yourself or set the record straight. But now, you just shoot back a calm, okay, and move right on with your day. Or maybe you pick up the phone and right away they launch into, "This is so typical. You always make me out to be the bad guy." Instead of trying to argue your side, you just let them talk and respond with a simple, "All right." No energy wasted, no emotional currency spent. And when you're in person, say you're sitting across from them at a table and they look you in the eye and say, "Are you seriously just going to sit there and ignore me?" You meet their gaze, and all that comes out is, That's all they get. Nothing to react to, nothing to dig into. I know it's going to feel awkward at first, maybe even impossible, especially if you're used to always explaining yourself, always trying to keep the peace. But the most important thing to remember here is every reaction, even when you're hurt or upset or desperate to be understood, it all feeds their supply. That's what they want. When you refuse to give it, you're taking their power away piece by piece. So why does this drive them insane? It's not just the withdrawal of attention, it's the invalidation. When you don't react, what you're really saying without words is, "You don't matter anymore, you have no effect on me." For someone whose entire identity is built on controlling the responses of others, so on being the center of attention, this is psychological annihilation. Without your reactions, it's like you've turned off all the lights and left the building without warning. They cease to exist in the space of your reality. And let's not sugarcoat it. The narcissist won't just fade quietly away. They'll escalate, turn up the heat to get you to break. You might see them lash out, get nastier, more dramatic. They might try to provoke you, guilt, trip you, draw you into some larger crisis or meltdown. Why? Because your silence is actual torture for them. It's louder than any insult, more cutting than any criticism. Here's the plain truth: you've got to be ready for that escalation. You've got to expect the storm to hit when you stop reacting. They'll toss every trick, every insult, every manipulation they've got in the toolbox at you just to make you flinch. Hold the line. Remember, your silence, your refusal to dance, is louder than any rage they can throw your way. The true power move isn't in wounding the narcissist. It's in starving their ego until it no longer has any claim on you. Through the gray rock, you reclaim your peace, one quiet, dull, unshakable answer at a time. And to them, that is absolutely unbearable. Now, to anyone out there feeling guilty about going silent or being boring, remember, the person trying so hard to provoke you is not doing it by accident. Their drama is a test, a hook, a way to see if you still exist as their emotional supply. The most loving, most self-respecting thing you can do is simply not respond. Let the vampire starve. Give yourself the gift of silence and watch your world get a whole lot quieter. And friend, a whole lot better. Let me put this out there where the goats can get it. You might think setting a boundary is a simple, polite request. A line drawn in the sand, something any reasonable person would respect just as a matter of good manners and healthy relationship. But for a narcissist, that boundary isn't polite. It's not a suggestion to be thoughtfully considered. No to them, it's a direct challenge, an insult to their perceived authority. It's like you just challenged them to a duel at high noon on Main Street. That's how big a trigger it is. Let's be clear, to most folks, boundaries mean, hey, here's what's okay for me and what isn't. With a narcissist, it's a declaration of war because it takes the power out of their hands. You're no longer as easily manipulated, and believe me, they notice. If you want to deal with a narcissist on your own terms, you're going to need a real battle plan because you can be sure they're already plotting their next move. Now, let's revisit something that's tried and true in the therapy and recovery world. The boundary formula, you've probably heard it before. If you do X, I will do Y. Sounds simple, right? But we're going to turn it up a notch. We're not just using boundaries as guidelines here. We're going to weaponize them for your self-protection. Here's the secret sauce, the consequence, the I will part must remove you from the situation. Take away their supply. That's how you shift the power dynamic. Let's try some real-world concrete examples. Because theory won't help you when you're staring down the barrel of a narcissist's rage. If you start making sarcastic comments about my job, I will leave the room. If you bring up my past mistakes, this conversation is over. If you criticize my parenting, you will not be seeing the kids this weekend. Notice something. The consequence is never about them doing something. It's all about you removing access. That's the only language a narcissist understands, the withdrawal of what they want most: your presence, your attention, your emotional energy. Here's the cold, hard reality. Once you lay down a boundary, you're not going to get a thank you note. You're not going to hear, "Oh wow, that's so healthy. I really respect that." You are going to trigger a test every single time. A narcissist does not see a boundary as a speed bump on the highway. They see it as a challenge, a wall to be knocked down. They're going to poke it, push it, and try to find every soft spot in it. They do it 3 classic ways. First, guilt. Get ready to hear, "I can't believe you'd be so sensitive. Are you really that cruel? Wow, you must not care about anybody but yourself." That's the guilt trip express coming right at you. If that doesn't work, up comes rage. The volume goes up. The accusations start flying. Maybe they're shouting. Maybe banging doors or slamming fists on the table. That outburst, it's all theater, friend, and it's designed to scare you into backing down, into giving up your ground just so the noise will stop. Then, if rage doesn't get you to crack, they'll pull out the victim card. "I guess I'm just a horrible person then. Can't do anything right for you, can I?" Cue the long sigh, the hangdog look, sometimes even tears. They want you to feel so bad for them that you sweep your boundaries away just to offer comfort. That's the ultimate bait. Here's where the real test begins. When the drama starts, do you hold your line or do you cave? The only way to teach a narcissist, not tell them, but show them that your boundaries are real, is to enforce the consequence calmly and immediately every single time. You don't have to yell. In fact, raised voices fuel their fire. You don't have to justify yourself or go down the rabbit hole of explaining. Just act. Quietly stand up, walk out, hang up, turn your phone off. Don't waver, don't apologize for your needs, and don't open the door tomorrow to make up for it. Hold the line. Let's make this crystal clear: a boundary without a consequence. That's just a suggestion. And a narcissist isn't interested in suggestions. They're only interested in control. They understand action. When you enforce that boundary, you're not only protecting yourself, you're teaching them the rules just changed. It's going to be uncomfortable. You'll feel pressure, guilt, anxiety that you're being mean. You're not. You are taking care of yourself. And taking care of yourself is not a crime, no matter what a narcissist tells you. Every time you hold that line, 2 things happen. 1, the narcissist learns painfully that they can't knock down your walls just by roaring or pouting. 2, you get stronger. Your confidence grows, your sense of autonomy returns. Eventually, when enough boundaries are enforced and enough consequences stuck to, their tactics lose power. The storm loses its force. You become less supply, more self, and that, my friend, is a revolution for your life. So the next time you set a boundary and the narcissist gears up for battle, take a deep breath. Remember, their anger, their guilt trips, their victim act, it's all noise. The real change happens when you hold your ground, not just for them to see, but for you to believe in your own worth. A solid boundary enforced with consequence every time is the one thing a narcissist can't bulldoze. And every time you do it, you're not just surviving, you're winning back your life, one act of self-respect at a time. Let's pull back the curtain. You ever notice how a narcissist can work a crowd? Got that big, charming energy when the lights are on and folks are watching. Smiles that light up a room, stories that make them sound like God's gift to humanity. But what happens when the doors close and it's just you and them? That's when the mask slips and that charming act turns to something cold, mean, controlling, a side they guard with everything they've got. See, that's the narcissist's greatest trick. 2 faces. one for the world, polished to a shine, and one for their inner circle, where they don't bother hiding those sharp edges. Let me clue you in, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that terrifies a narcissist more than these two worlds colliding. For them, the idea that someone might glimpse the real version, the one you see when the blinds are closed, well, that's pure nightmare fuel. Let's talk about why. Their entire self-image is built like medieval armor, layer upon layer of falsehood, of inflated stories. I'm better than you, and everyone loves me. They absolutely need that public praise, the admiration of outsiders more than you need oxygen after a run. When you even poke at that image, when you offer so much as a shadow of doubt to people on the outside, you're not just bruising their ego. You are threatening the entire illusion they depend on to feel like somebody. It's not just about embarrassment, it's existential panic. The false self is their armor, their sense of safety in the world. You threaten that armor and they feel exposed, vulnerable, and less than. And buddy, they'll fight dirty to keep that mask from cracking. Now, here's the trap. They want you to stoop to their level. Start a rumor war, sling mud, get emotional, lose your cool in front of family, friends, or colleagues. That's their home turf. The drama, the chaos, the shouting match where they've spent years winning. Don't do it. Don't fall into the smear campaign. That's their playbook, not yours. What you do instead, what really rattles a narcissist, is calmly, factually naming the truth. Not labels, not insults, facts. Picture this, you're in a therapist's office surrounded by neutral observers. Maybe it's family mediation, maybe you've got a lawyer there. This isn't about volume, it's about precision. You don't say, he's a monster. He ruins everything. You say, on Tuesday he told me I was worthless in front of our children. When I asked him to stop, he called me selfish and left the house for 3 hours. Facts. Times, dates, specifics. You don't raise your voice, you don't cry. You become a witness, not an adversary. Why does this matter so much? Because when you stick to the facts, you shut off their ability to spin you as overly emotional, as unstable, as crazy. That's how they keep the upper hand. Oh, she's just hysterical. He's making it up for attention. Remove that storyline and suddenly they're cornered by reality. No story, no gaslighting, just the plain inescapable truth. Does it mean you won't be attacked? No. They'll get creative. You remember it wrong. This is a smear job. You're obsessed with making me look bad. They'll try to bait you, try to drag your emotions out into the open, because if you lose your cool, they win back some of the audience. You hold steady, no yelling, no sobbing, just facts. Their influence shrinks. Think practical. Maybe it's during a joint therapy session you lay out what's happened calmly without blame. Maybe you're in a family setting explaining to a third party why you've distanced yourself. I'm not here to degrade anyone. I'm just sharing my experience. Or perhaps it's with an attorney, laying out exactly which behaviors crossed the line and made further contact impossible. This approach doesn't just keep you grounded, it puts the truth in black and white, not subject to their emotional manipulations, not up for debate. It might catch folks off guard. After all, a narcissist's public act is convincing, but the more the facts pile up, the harder it is for others to ignore the truth. And here's another secret. You don't need to blast this truth to an audience of hundreds. You only need one witness, one person willing to see the discrepancy. That's often all it takes for the narcissist's power to start slipping. No longer can they control the narrative in every room. Suddenly, their web of reality isn't airtight. Even one trusted neutral observer, the therapist, the mediator, the boss, can puncture their sense of total domination. This is when you see a narcissist start to sweat. They can't gaslight reality when it's plainly spoken, calmly observed, and corroborated by another. You bring the truth into the light, and the shadows, they dwell and shrink away. It's all about refusing to play along with their script. No hysterics, no counterattacks, just measured truth over and over. You don't have to convince everybody. You only have to refuse to go along with the lie. Think about it. Their great power isn't just in harming you, It's in making you think nobody else will ever see it, ever believe it. Isolation is their greatest ally. So when you stand up, even in a small matter of fact way, and bear witness, this is what happened, this is how it made me feel, these are the facts as best as I can recall, you crack that isolation. Suddenly, the monster behind closed doors is revealed, at least to someone. That light, no matter how small, makes all the difference. Their ability to control you, to make you question your own reality, starts to shrivel. They can't gaslight reality, not when it's calmly, firmly, fearlessly spelled out for all to see. The moment you bring the truth into the open, their power over you fades. And in that space, you reclaim your sense of what's real. You reclaim yourself. Let me tell you something that might sound strange at first, your happiness. Your honest to goodness, belly laugh, deep sigh, walk in the sunshine happiness isn't just frustrating to a narcissist. It feels to them like a personal attack. That's right. Because you might live your life thinking, well, if I'm doing well, if I'm happy, that's my business. But to a narcissist, your happiness is a burning insult. More than that, it's a verdict. It says, you failed to control me. I'm doing just fine without your drama, without your chaos. And deep down, nothing stings them more. A narcissist doesn't see you the way most people see each other, as a separate human being, loving, growing, changing in your own right. No, in their eyes, you're more like an extension, an accessory. You know how someone might shine their car so it looks good in the neighbor's driveway. That's how they want you to reflect on them. Your job in their warped narrative is simple: make them look good, validate their ego, reflect back their distorted reality. But here's the kicker: when you experience real joy, find independent success, or dare to thrive without them involved, when you light up from something they didn't orchestrate, that's proof you're a living, breathing, thinking, feeling person, not an ornament. And it's terrifying to them, because if you're a real person, you might leave. You might say no. You might find other sources of happiness, friends, passions, meaningful work that have absolutely nothing to do with them. You might prove that their power is not absolute. Let's paint the picture. You reconnect with an old friend just to have a coffee and laugh about the old days. You sign up for a pottery class or pick up an instrument again, and you feel that little spark come alive. Or maybe you get a promotion at work. Maybe it's a small win, like nailing a presentation or making the kids laugh on the drive home. These things, as simple as they may seem, are not minor in the mind of a narcissist. Each one is a shot across their ego's bow. See, every time you listen to music and tap your foot, watch a dumb comedy and burst out laughing, make new memories, chase down long dormant dreams, any moment that doesn't revolve around them is a moment that reminds them they're not the center of your universe. And that eats at them. It's the ultimate loss of control. To them, your independent happiness doesn't mean you're getting better. It means they're losing. Now, what do you think happens when they sniff out that you're actually happy, genuinely, unshakably, joyfully okay? They don't congratulate you, they sabotage. Watch for it. Every big event, every milestone, every hard-earned win, suddenly there's an emergency. Suddenly there's a fight, a crisis. A cruel comment slipped into your big day. Maybe they make a side-handed insult about your raise, or bring up a mistake from 10 years ago right after you land a new job. Maybe they get sick, have a breakdown, start drama with the kids or family. This is not a coincidence. That's the narcissist scrambling, clawing for center stage, trying everything in their toolbox to pull the spotlight back. They'll try to make you question the legitimacy of your own joy. Must be nice, I never got that kind of opportunity, they'll say. Or, you wouldn't have gotten that job if it wasn't for me. They'll needle you, downplay your accomplishments, try to rain on your parade. Here's what you need to understand: none of it is about you. It's about their fear, it's about their deep, gnawing terror that you might realize you don't need them, that you might leave, thrive, or simply go on living your own life. So what do? Here's the work. Friend, recognize the game. Don't let their reaction define your happiness. The moment you see their sabotage for what it is, a desperate attempt to drag you back into their misery, you start reclaiming your narrative. Keep seeing your friends. Keep chasing your dreams, big or small. Celebrate your wins and let them belong to you. When they try to undercut your joy, respond with as little energy as you can manage. I'm proud of my work. I had a great time with my friends. Don't get sucked into defending or explaining. Your happiness doesn't require permission from them or from anyone. And here's the real twist: your thriving isn't just good for you. It's the most powerful act of defiance. It is the one thing the narcissist can't stand, can't manipulate, can't compete with. They may try to belittle, sabotage, distract, or guilt you, but your honest to goodness happiness is a wall they just can't climb. So next time you find yourself smiling, laughing, growing, or simply feeling okay, even on a Thursday night doing nothing special, know that you're doing more than moving on. You're winning. You're breaking the spell. Your happiness, your success, your peace, those are the evidence that you've escaped their grip. And if that makes them miserable, well, that's just the ripple effect of you finally choosing you. Rest assured, they'll keep trying. The sabotage, the guilt, the drama, that's their last-ditch effort to make you smaller. But every time you hold on to your joy, every time you refuse to let them define your worth, you're sending a clear message. You do not own my happiness, and you never will. That, friend, is the biggest win of all. Let's talk about masks, illusions, and desperate performances. Spend enough time around a narcissist and you'll start to see the show. Grand entrances, endless stories about how brilliant, how generous, how innocent they are, or swing to the other side. And it's a highlight reel of all the ways they've supposedly been wronged. Day in, day out, it's the same production, the narcissist at center stage. Spotlight fixed, audience expected to applaud on cue. Here's the thing: narcissists don't just put on a show. They live in it. Their entire existence is spent carefully propping up a fantasy of their own greatness, of their tragic victimhood, of the idea that they are, in all things, exceptional and misunderstood. Every compliment, every sympathetic ear, every gasp of admiration or pity, that's oxygen to them. That's how the Façade lives. But there's one thing, one move guaranteed to shake their whole world. You stop believing. You look at the pageantry, the exaggerations, the tales of woe and glory, and you just don't buy it. It's like taking the batteries out of a child's talking toy. Suddenly, there's no sound, no applause, no reaction. That total refusal to be swept up, to play your assigned part, is the knockout punch. They'll do everything to protect their performance. They'll gaslight. That never happened. You're imagining things. They'll project. Accuse you of all the things they're guilty of. If you call them controlling, suddenly you're the toxic one. If you point out a lie, suddenly you're the liar. There's blame shifting, rewriting the story so that in every version, they're the misunderstood hero. It's dizzying if you let yourself get caught up in it. But here's how the unmasking begins. Learn to name the manipulation when you see it and do it calmly. Don't meet rage with rage or lie with counterattack. It's in the steady, almost boring statement of truth that you win back ground. Someone tries to derail the conversation, you say, I see you're changing the subject. Let's stick to the issue at hand. They try to reflect their flaws onto you. That sounds like you're describing your own behavior, not mine. That's called projection. You get drawn into endless emotional whiplash. I will not be taking responsibility for your feelings. These aren't clever comebacks, they're breaks on the runaway train of narcissistic theatrics. You're stepping out of the script. You're making it clear you see the man behind the curtain, and you know it's smoke and mirrors. Brace yourself, because when you refuse to play, there will be a reaction. The narcissist might up the ante, bouncing between bragging and self-pity. 1 minute, it's no one could do what I do. I sacrificed everything for this family, for this job, for you. The next minute, it's nobody appreciates me. I guess I'm just a burden to everyone. Both are performances designed to fish for the same thing, a reaction from you. but the real power lies in not giving it. They get in your face with self-glorification. You say, "That's nice. Another round of the same old sob story. I've heard." Not cruel, not dismissive, just quietly indifferent. No applause for the bravado, no sympathy for the endless tales of victimhood, no joining in the drama. You just won't play your part anymore. And when you don't, a strange thing happens. The narcissist struggles. They flail, desperate to get you back into your old role, defending, explaining, placating. But you hold steady. Where they once drew energy from your emotional response, now there's a vacuum. And to them, that's an entirely new and terrifying feeling. They're left alone on stage performing to an empty house. You cannot out-argue a narcissist. You'll never win by logic or by appealing to their better angels, because the show is the point. They'll twist anything to keep it going. But you don't have to be the audience anymore. When you stop reacting, stop getting drawn in, stop making yourself smaller to keep their story alive, something fundamental changes. The moment they know you see the reality, the smallness and insecurity behind the noise, they lose all power over you. Understand, it will never be your job to convince them, fix them, or get them to own the truth. Your only responsibility is to keep your own eyes open and stand firm in what's real. When the smoke clears and you're not clapping, not booing, just calmly packing up your things and leaving the theater, the narcissist is left alone with a truth they cannot unmake. You see them, and you're no longer willing to pretend. That's what shakes their world. That's the great unmasking. And that's real freedom for you. All right, you want to know the single most devastating thing you can do to a narcissist, the one act that gets them at the root, rocks their sense of control, and leaves them reeling in the emptiness they so fear. It's not a fight, not a clever comeback, not one last gotcha. On your way out the door, you disappear. You become a ghost. You erase yourself from their reality so completely that, for the very first time, they are truly alone with themselves. And let me tell you, that is a wound they never, ever recover from. We're not talking about plain old silent treatment or a week of ignoring their calls. This is the ultimate power move, no contact, with a capital N and C. It's the clean break, the hard line in the sand. You remove every avenue of influence over your life. You block their number, delete their emails unread, lock down every social media account, erase any path they might use to pull you back in. You don't peek at their updates, don't troll their stories. If you share mutual friends, you make it clear, I don't want to talk about them. I don't want updates. You shut every window, lock every door, and throw away the key. You might feel guilty at first. People might say it's mean or harsh. The narcissist, if they get wind of your boundary, will rage, plead, manipulate, even charm to get you back into their web. They'll try everything, because the moment you disappear is the moment the game is finally over, and it's not on their terms. This is the final boundary, the end game that leaves no loopholes. When you finally go no contact, you are saying, calmly and completely, you no longer have access to my life in any way, shape, or form. That's not just ignoring them. That is erasing them from your reality, taking away their favorite game, trying to get a reaction out of you. They can't win if you stop playing. Walk this line and you'll see what happens to a narcissist's sense of self. This right here is their greatest fear, their deepest wound. What could possibly be more terrifying to someone whose life is built around controlling, extracting, and feeding off another person's attention than becoming irrelevant? The ultimate abandonment, the stone cold realization that you are, in their world, disposable. That's the poison pill. That's the nightmare that wakes them up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat. See, a narcissist's power depends on having the last word, on being able to come back, to rewrite the ending, to twist your reality one more time. But when you end the conversation, when you walk away without ceremony, without apology, without drama, they're stranded, left circling their own echo chamber with nobody left to haunt. You might not realize it, but you've chosen the one option that can't be undone. All the guilt trips, all the rages, the woe is me moments, the attempts to make you feel responsible, They lose their bite when you don't even hear the words. No opportunity to hoover you back in, to plead for another chance, to dangle a false hope of change. You are vanished, unavailable, unplayable in their story. Here's the powerful truth: this isn't just about punishing the narcissist. That's never been the goal. It's about building a life so rich, so peaceful, so meaningfully yours that there's not a single foothold left for them to grab onto. Your disappearance is not just a loss for them, it's a beginning for you. Every step you take away from the cycle, the silence, the boundaries, the emotional distance, the joy you reclaim, is a thunderous declaration that you belong to yourself again. It's the final, freeing act of your own story. Maybe right now, the thought of going no contact feels impossible. Maybe you're tied to them by family, by kids, by commitments. But the spirit of disappearance is more than just changing your phone number. It's about disappearing emotionally, spiritually, removing whatever hooks they've sunk into your life. You leave them with nothing but their own reflection, and in the stillness of that space, they're forced to contend with the truth: you're gone, and you're not looking back. You don't need to announce it. You don't need a big send-off. The most powerful disappearances are quiet, firm, and final. You step out of their line of vision and slowly, surely step into your own life. Remember this: making a narcissist uncomfortable in the end isn't about the quick fix or the cheap thrill. It's about creating a reality, one they cannot touch. Every single hate, every act of holding the line, choosing your joy, refusing to buy into their show, that's another brick in the wall. When you stop reacting, when you build those boundaries, when you let yourself unabashedly thrive, and when you finally vanish and don't look back, you don't just disturb their peace. You restore your own. There is nothing in this world a narcissist hates more than you being free. And there should be nothing in this world that matters more to you than living that truth: the game is over. The wound is theirs to heal, and the rest of your life, that's yours to live.